this evening. First, high-profile case dropped. Calvin Brutus and his wife withdraws their second High Court challenge in a financial crime saga, leaving unpaid legal costs and millions of dollars in bail. Plus, tragedy on the Mazaruni. 34-year-old Davenon Williams lost his life following a devastating boat collision. We'll hear from those impacted by this accident in Region 7. Also honoring our heroes. Remembrance Day ceremony brought together leaders and veterans to pay tribute to those who fought in World Wars I and II. President Ali's message of peace and unity resonated across the nation. And a renewed focus on mental health. The government launches its National Mental Health Action Plan, aiming to address stigma and enhance support, particularly for men. Hear more about its impact on Guyanese community. Finally, a shift in fuel. Nigeria's drivers are swapping petrol for natural gas as gas prices skyrocket. How could this trend influence energy choices worldwide? Stay tuned for these stories and more coming up on Headline News Up. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for November 11th, 2024. I am Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, a boat collision on the Mazaruni River claimed the life of a man. Despite rescue efforts, Malcolm Carter has further details.
A tragic boat collision on the Middle Mazaruni River, Region 7, claimed the life of 34-year-old Davenon Williams from Kagarumo Village on Saturday, November 9, 2024. The accident occurred around 11 hours near Fish Pond, Region 7, as Williams and another man, James Mackenzie, traveled downstream in a wooden boat powered by a 40-horsepower engine. According to police, a jet boat named River Quest, captained by Odile Kazir and carrying 4 passengers with cargo, was traveling upstream along the same side of the river. Kazir reported that upon seeing the wooden boat, he attempted to swerve aside to avoid a collision. However, the wooden boat unexpectedly turned in the same direction, resulting in a collision that capsized the vessel, throwing Williams and Mackenzie into the river. Passengers aboard the jet boat acted quickly, rescuing the 2 men and transporting them to Aizano Landing. Tragically, despite these efforts, Dr. Wilson pronounced Williams dead upon arrival due to severe facial injuries. Mackenzie sustained injuries to his leg and upper back but is in stable condition. The loss has profoundly impacted Kagarumo Village, where Williams was well regarded among the Amerindian community. Reporting for Headline News Update, Malcolm Carter.
Thanks, Malcolm. Calvin Brutus and his wife withdrew a High Court case challenging a bank account freeze order after previously seeking court permission to travel. Dale Jarvis has more details.
On Friday, Calvin Brutus and his wife, Adonica Alda, withdrew a High Court case filed in August 2024 against the head of the Special Organized Crime Unit, Fazil Karambash, the Commissioner of Police, Clifton Hicken, and the Attorney General, Anil Nandalal. The couple had initially sought to reverse a court order that froze their bank accounts. Their lawyer made an oral application to withdraw, marking the second time they had filed such proceedings and later dropped them. Previously, Brutus and Alda filed another High Court action seeking permission to leave the country, citing Alda's need for medical treatment. Justice Gino Prasad dismissed that application and ordered them to pay $250,000 each to the head of Special Organized Crime Unit, the Commissioner of Police, and the Attorney General. These costs still need to be paid, and legal steps may be taken if the payment is not made within the next 6 weeks. Brutus and his wife are on millions of dollars of bail after they face a slew of charges, the majority of which were financial crimes of hundreds of millions of dollars belonging to the Guyana Police Force. Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jarvis.
Thanks, Dale. On Friday, 500 Guyanese were officially given house lots at the Diingret Phase 2 and the Bon Intention Phase 3 housing schemes along the East Coast. The distribution ceremony was part of the Ministry of Housing and Water's 50th Dream Realized Housing Drive at the Arthur Chang Convention Center. Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell highlighted the government's substantial investments in East Coast housing projects, including over $62 billion in infrastructure works over the past 4 years.
In 4 years, we have invested over $62 billion in infrastructure work on the east coast of Damar. And for this year alone, on our budget, about $32 billion is being spent on the east coast of Demerara for areas such as, for example, Good Hope, LBI is where we're speaking about, Luziknan, Nonpareil, Enterprise, etc.
For 2024, nearly $32 billion will be allocated for development in areas such as LBI, Luziknan, and Nonpareil. In addition to the housing lots, nearly 400 land titles were distributed, enabling recipients to access financing for home construction. 50 individuals also received steel and cement vouchers to begin building their homes. Since 2020, over 38,000 house lots have been allocated nationwide, with more than 15,000 on the East Coast. Minister Kroll emphasized the government's commitment to fulfilling its mandate to ensure every beneficiary becomes a homeowner, while Minister Susan Rodriguez spoke about the long-term impact of home ownership in transforming lives and creating generational wealth. Stick around when we return. Guyana observes Remembrance Day, honoring World War heroes, and 3 arrested in alleged armed robbery of Chinese businessman in Lethem.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Hello, my fellow TikToker followers. Here's credit. And today, all we will be making Chinese noodles with peppies, chow mein, chicken fritters, and spice cake. For the noodles, all of these will be using peppies, black pepper, cashew,
Chinese sauce, soy sauce, garlic sauce, paprika, Chinese seasoning, chow mein seasoning, fried spice, and all-purpose seasoning.
Next, this chicken that we marinated, soak for all you don't know nothing with peppies, green seasoning, miracle seasoning,
pepper sauce, chicken seasoning, paprika, garlic powder, dark seasoning, black pepper, onion powder, and ginger powder, and document plantain flour, and then this butter we make with this quick piece powder, and we
boil in high. We serve with peppies, barbecue sauce. Radical went to the supermarket and she papa buy up enough things. She feels she alone can cook, but she routine even wrong. He shaped like a guy in a map.
Peppies has a wide range of ingredients available at supermarkets nationwide. Peppies, we put the pep back into your kitchen.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. The police have arrested 3 men in connection with an armed robbery that occurred at the Shopping 25 General Store in Lethem, Central Rupununi on Sunday, November 10th. The victim, Wei Gao, the 43-year-old Chinese businessman, was robbed by 3 suspects, one armed with a submachine gun and the other 2 with handguns. The robbers made off with 21 new cell phones and cash totaling over $2 million. The robbery took place around 2:15 p.m. when the suspects entered the store, held Gao at gunpoint, and demanded money. The suspects, speaking Portuguese, were dressed in dark clothing and arrived on foot. After the robbery, the suspects fled towards Tabatinga, heading west towards the Lethem commercial zone. Police, led by Senior Superintendent Rafael Rose, gave chase and spotted the suspects near the Ghana-Brazil border. During the pursuit, the suspects fired several rounds at the police vehicle, which was struck 4 times, but no injuries were reported. A joint service patrol was initiated, and the suspects were eventually apprehended in Brazil. They remain in custody, and investigations into the robbery are ongoing. On a different note, Ghana honored its World War I and II soldiers on Remembrance Day with a wreath laying ceremony, military parade, and President Ali's peace pledge. More from Malcolm Carter.
On Sunday, Guyana held a solemn Remembrance Day ceremony to honor the soldiers who fought and died in World War I and II. The wreath-laying event at the Cenotaph Monument brought together government officials, veterans, diplomatic corps, and joint service members to pay tribute to the fallen. President Dr. Muhammad Imran Ali, in his address, urged citizens to uphold the legacy of these heroes and reaffirm Guyanese's dedication to peace and national development.
We meet again to remember all those gallant men and women who gave their lives in 2 world wars. We are forever indebted to them for their supreme sacrifice in the cause of peace and freedom.
He recognized their sacrifices for human dignity and justice and pledged Guyana's commitment to global peace and prosperity. The ceremony featured a military parade, a presidential salute, and 2 minutes of silence. President Ali led the wreath-laying, followed by Prime Minister Mark Phillips and other officials. Remembrance Day in Guyana is observed annually on the 2nd Sunday of November, honoring those who served in battles across regions, including France, Belgium, and East Africa. Reporting for Headline News Update, Malcolm Carter.
Thanks, Malcolm. The government is intensifying its effort to address mental health challenges through comprehensive legislation and community-based programs. Key among these efforts is the 2022 Self-Harm Prevention Act, which decriminalized self-harm and mandates a National Self-Harm Commission to support those in need. With the recent launch of the National Mental Health Action Plan and Self-Harm Prevention Plan 2024-2030, the government is increasing access to mental health services, integrating support into primary health care, and working to reduce stigma. The Men on a Mission initiative, introduced in 2022, specifically addresses mental health issues faced by men and boys, offering mentorship, outreach, and recreational programs. Dr. Timothy Morgan, head of the Ministry of Health's Mental Health Unit, credits these targeted efforts for reducing self-harm rates, particularly among men. President Dr. Muhammad Irfan Ali emphasizes the need for collaborative action, underscoring the government's commitment to improving mental health nationwide. Don't go away after the break. Haiti's Prime Minister outs after 6 months, and Mexico-Guatemala border. Mass kidnapping and extortion awaits migrants.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fractured my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets. outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton, and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Hello, my fellow TikToker followers. It's Credit, and today all we will be making Chinese noodles with peppies, chow mein, chicken fritters, and spice cake. For the noodles, all these will be using peppies, black pepper, cashew,
Chinese sauce, soy sauce, garlic sauce, paprika, Chinese seasoning, chow mein seasoning, white spice, and all-purpose seasoning.
Next, this chicken that we marinated, soak for all you who don't know nothing with peppies, green seasoning, miracle seasoning,
Pepper sauce, chicken seasoning, paprika, garlic powder, dark seasoning, black pepper, onion powder, and ginger powder, and document plantain flour, and then this butter we make with this quick piece powder, and we
boil in oil. We serve with peppies, barbecue sauce. Radical went to the supermarket and she papa buy up enough things. She feels she alone can cook, but she routine even wrong. She shaped like a guy in a map.
Peppies has a wide range of ingredients available at supermarkets nationwide. Peppies, we put the pep back into your kitchen.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Current smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Malcolm Carter and welcome to tonight's regional and international news. First up, a 6.8 magnitude earthquake struck eastern Cuba on Sunday, adding to weeks of hardship marked by hurricanes and widespread power outages. The quake's epicenter was about 25 miles south of Bartolomé, impacting areas across eastern Cuba, including Santiago de Cuba, where residents shaken by the tremors gathered anxiously outside. Although there were no immediate reports of injuries or damage, residents felt several aftershocks. The quake followed a Category 3 hurricane earlier in the week that devastated western Cuba, leaving thousands without power or homes. Persistent blackouts and recent storms have intensified public frustration, sparking small protests across the island. Meanwhile, Haiti's ruling council has dismissed Prime Minister Gary Conille just 6 months after his appointment, replacing him with businessman Alex Didier Fils-Aimé. Conille, a former UN official, was expected to navigate Haiti through a severe security crisis and lay the groundwork for presidential elections. He condemned his ouster as unconstitutional, noting only Parliament can legally remove a prime minister. Haiti's Transitional Presidential Council, created to stabilize the country, faces escalating gang violence with over 3,600 fatalities this year alone. Amid severe hunger and displacement, Kenyan police officers have been deployed to aid Haiti's security efforts. Internationally, migrants crossing the Suchiate River into Mexico often fall into the hands of drug cartels. Many are held for ransom in structures filled with other kidnapped individuals. Al Jazeera's Alessandro Rampieti reports.
Migrants hoping to reach the United States fill the rafts crossing the Suchiate River on the Guatemala border. But as they set foot in Mexico, many end up in the hands of drug cartels. Like this Honduran woman and her family who preferred to remain nameless for fear of retaliations. They were held for 3 days in a structure filled with other abducted migrants known as the Chicken Coup until they could pay $100 each in ransom.
We crossed the river, then several men approached on motorcycles. They took us. They asked us what we were doing, that we were foreigners and not supposed to be there. They demanded money. Today my brother was able to do a wire transfer. We paid them and they let us go.
The criminals stamped their skin to signal they had paid. The kids were marked too.
They said, take off your shirt, and they stamped us. They say that it's their seal. And once you're stamped, anyone who checks us would not hurt us because they control the area. They say that if you're not stamped and other people catch you, you have to pay again.
Many other families repeated the same story in the shelter, but all were too scared to talk on camera. Chiapas was one of the safest states in Mexico, but crime groups have arrived in recent years to take advantage of the lucrative migrant smuggling trade. Mexico's government likes to highlight its success in stemming the flow of migrants, but what everyone here will tell you, albeit in a whisper, is that it's organized crime that controls who moves here, while the authorities turn a blind eye to it. One person who is not afraid to speak is Father Ayman Vasquez, a priest in Ciudad Hidalgo who has spent 2 decades defending migrants.
During the previous administration, there was violence against the migrants, but it was hidden, not now. Now, they do it in front of everyone, for everyone to see. The kidnappers' trucks park in front of the municipality and take the migrants away. The municipal police, the National Guard, and all the authorities know what's happening. They are colluding with organized crime.
A terrifying prospect for thousands of migrants fleeing mayhem at home just to become a commodity in an increasingly violent trade. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera, Tapachula.
Finally, soaring petrol prices in Nigeria are pushing drivers to switch to natural gas. Al Jazeera's Ahmed Idris reports.
Attracted by cheaper fuel, more Nigerian motorists are making the switch to compressed natural gas.
Looking at the cost of petrol in Nigeria today, it is not more pocket-friendly to be running my car on petrol. And that's the reason why I switched to CNG.
Saving on gasoline, he says, gives them the opportunity to spend more on food. Ayola Sunday oversees this conversion center, one of 2 operating in the capital, Abuja.
Your vehicle is refitted. Your vehicle has the capability of using alternative fuels. All right? So you have the advantage, you have liberty to choose whichever fuel you want to use.
Nigeria has declared 2020 to 2030 a decade of gas, expanding its gas infrastructure.
In the last 1 year, we've been able to track by ourselves over $250 million in direct investment. These investments have gone to the increment in the number of conversion centers. It used to be just 7 of them. Today, we've identified more than 130 in the country.
The government aims to have 1 million vehicles retrofitted to use compressed natural gas by the end of 2025. 100,000 or so vehicles have so far made the switch out of the 20 million or so vehicles currently on Nigerian roads. Officials say the fuel will help eliminate many of the petrol supply challenges the country has been dealing with for decades.
Although conversion to CNG is slowly gaining traction, some Nigerians aren't entirely happy.
We have to queue for hours. Like, I've been on queue for more than 3 hours, which I've used the productive time of the day to come and queue to refuel.
Others are worried about the cost of retrofitting a vehicle, which ranges from $500 to $2,000.
It will take a lot of funding, a lot of support also from government. Is government ready to put in that support?
The government says it's working to resolve that.
We are seeing a progressive expansion from what used to be to where we are now expanding our footprint to additional states.
Nigeria has 206 trillion cubic feet of gas. Domestic utilization is very low. In some cases, the resource is simply flared. The government hopes deepening domestic gas utilization will reduce local demand for petroleum, which can be exported for foreign exchange. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Lagos.
Thanks, Malcolm. This brings us to the end of the regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's Safety Beat 2 Headline News for this Monday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.